This Taurus full moon is here to support us to drop our trying, our striving for things, our concerns about our life and our future, and also our agendas in favor of surrendering into what is, surrendering into what truly is life. Because our life, when we are alive, is perceived in a completely different reality. This is a reminder for us at this Taurus full moon that we are what we believe. And it requires courage to listen to that truth of who we truly are. Because when we remember, we don't have to try anymore. We can just listen and learn and expand from there. And we are also trusting in the timing when things in our life unfold and we just know it's the right time. So what is coming to you as a ultimate truth about yourself and who you are as a being at this Taurus full moon? Welcome to New Light Living Podcast. I'm Ulrika Sullivan. I'm an intuitive spiritual life coach and a galactic astrologer. This video is a galactic astrology reading of the Taurus full moon at 13 degrees 22 minutes on November 5th, 2025. Welcome. What I do in these videos, I put an outer layer of fixed stars, celestial bodies, and galactic points to the traditional Western tropical astrology wheel. And that is to help us expand into identifying ourselves and our collective with our multi-dimensional reality. Because at this time, we are expanding. We are expanding our perspective and our experience of who we truly are. We're moving into a multi-dimensional self-identification. This is an expansion of possibility, of potential, and opportunity. So I welcome you to this video. What you'll receive in this video are 3 energetic themes that I've pulled out from the full moon chart. And also at the end, you'll receive 3 questions should you want to integrate this Taurus full moon energy some more. Are you curious about your own galactic alignments? Download my Galactic Alignments reference guide. There is a link in the pinned comment and description box below. This full moon at 13 degrees of Taurus is conjunct the fixed star Andromeda-Almach at 14 degrees of Taurus. And also, since it's a full moon, the sun is in opposition to the moon, and we also have a conjunction of the sun at 13 degrees of Scorpio, conjunct the fixed star Acrux at 12 degrees of Scorpio. Yes, this is a powerful opposition between Almach and Acrux. The ruler of this full moon is Venus, and Venus is now at 28 degrees of Libra, which is the Libra new moon degree from October 21st. And Venus was also the ruler of that Libra new moon. So these 2 moons are strongly connected. This full moon in Taurus is about receiving something that is a truth for us, a truth for ourselves, because we can live in a box or we can live in a universe. And our reality is what we believe. Our perspective is our reality. So here we are receiving something at this full moon in Taurus that is ringing very true to us, that may expand us into a completely new reality. Our reality can be expanded into opportunity. And with that magnitude of opportunity that we may sense at this time, also comes a need for discernment. Because discernment helps us to know what is true for ourselves. What are your criteria for your reality at this time? And how are your criteria for your reality changing at this time? Can you sense, feel, and use your intuition for what is truth for you? How does that add to the picture that you already have about your reality? Or are you taking what you can see only as your reality? You probably sense where I'm going with this. This Taurus full moon is one of adding our own perspective, our own imagination to our current reality and expanding from there. because ultimately it's about embodiment of our imagination, the space between the seen and the unseen. How are you playing with it? How are you working with it? There is so much invention and opportunity and potential in working with the space between the seen and the unseen. What is coming to you as a truth that helps you expand? And it may take a little courage to receive that truth, because to open up to something that we don't know so much about, or that is an unknown to us, that requires courage. And now is the time at this Taurus full moon to receive something that opens up another perspective, another dimension within you. And also, Venus, as the ruler of this full moon, has a big role in this expansion and truth that is coming through, because Venus is in the third decan, the late degrees of Libra, and also now at that new moon in Libra point, linking in the messages from that new moon. And if you haven't watched the new moon video, you may want to go back and rewatch the video and add on the messages for this Taurus full moon, because at this Taurus full moon at 13 degrees, we are working with the mental domain. The second decan from 10 to 19 degrees of a sign is related to the mental domain. This is largely a mental construct that we are getting rid of here at this Taurus full moon. The mental domain wants to have everything in control and prefer to have something that we can see or see manifest. But this Taurus full moon is calling us to trust the unseen, and also to support ourselves to receive truths that are of remembrance of who we truly are. And that requires a letting go of the mental domain and the often strict boxes we put ourselves in. Because when we are distracted or away from connecting with who we truly are, we feel lost often. And this full moon in Taurus is helping us, is here to help with clarity around that truth that comes from within. This Taurus full moon is here to support us to drop our trying, our striving for things, our concerns about our life and our future, and also our agendas, in favor of surrendering into what is. Because when we remember, we don't have to try anymore. We can just listen and learn and expand from there. And we are also trusting in the timing when things in our life unfold, and we just know it's the right time. So what is coming to you as a ultimate truth about yourself and who you are as a being at this Taurus full moon? First, I'd like to thank everyone who is showing up so consistently for this channel, for being here, for engaging all the questions and videos that I put out there. And thank you for your beautiful comments that I see every single time I post a video. So thank you. I also want to thank all the members who have taken the extra step to be further engaging with our community and enjoying the extra members only videos and more inside the membership. Thank you. There's a new function, the hype function, that helps smaller channels to be spread a little bit faster. So hype this video if you like it. You can find the hype button if you swipe the comments field before you expand into seeing everybody's comments. And there is the hype button. And this function is available for 7 days after the first posting of the video. And if you're new to this channel, subscribe, like, and share this video with people who you think may benefit from what is shared here by me. Before we go into the full moon chart, I'd like to share what the energetic themes are. The first theme is courage to receive truth. And here we're going to talk about the full moon, of course, Andromeda-Almach, but also the asteroid Atlantis and Corvus-Algorab. The second theme is the heart is protected. And here we're going to talk about Alpha Centauri, Pleiades, and Leo-Regulus. and a basket. The third theme is the unseen spiritual lesson. And here, this is the theme that we're going to expand on in the members only video. Here, we're going to talk about Pegasus-Markab, Asteroid Vesta, Chiron, and Canis Minor-Procyon. All right, let's dive into the full moon chart next. So here we have the full moon chart. And as you can see, the moon and the sun are in opposition with each other. The moon conjunct Andromeda-Almach there at 12 degrees of Taurus, and the sun is conjunct a crux at 12 degrees of Scorpio. And the full moon is at 13 degrees, 22 minutes. And this chart actually is showing 23 minutes. So let's take that. The ruler of this full moon is Venus. And if you recall, the Venus was also the ruler of the previous Libra new moon at 28 degrees of Libra, conjunct the fixed star Isar in the Boots constellation, and also Shapley attractor at 2 degrees of Scorpio. We apply a orb about 5 degrees to big universal drivers like the Shapley attractor, while fixed stars maybe 1, 2, maybe 3 at most to fixed stars. And Venus, as the ruler of these past 2 new moons, is carrying the messages from the Libra new moon into the Taurus full moon here as well, in addition to the messages that we're going to talk about in a minute here. And here I pulled in the reminder of the Libra new moon, where the sun and moon were together in the new moon at 28 degrees, 22 minutes on October 21st. So you may recognize this chart from the Libra new moon video. I'd like to talk a little bit more about Andromeda-Almach there at 12 degrees of Taurus. Andromeda-Almach is associated with beautiful divine feminine energy of artistry, creativity, and also an energy of truth and speaking from an intuitive perspective. It's also about fairness. Sometimes when I tune into Andromeda-Almach, it's almost this ultimate divine feminine yin receptive energy. And the moon conjunct Andromeda-Almach here at this powerful full moon is giving us guidance around receptivity, listening within. Because when we listen to the messages within, our truth within, it's also easier to radiate that truth. And I also want to talk a little bit about Acrux here. Acrux is the Southern Cross, used for navigation many times in the sky. But the reason that Acrux is highlighted here at this full moon by the sun is that we are asked to tap into more of a reality of mystery and the unseen. So if Acrux can provide some direction here at this Taurus full moon, it would be to tune into the unseen, the magical, the mystical parts of our universe and reality and perspective. So the sun is shining a light on the importance of tapping into the unseen at this full moon. So here is the first energetic theme that I've called Courage to Receive Truth. And here we are going to take a look at this yod that Venus is now in the pointer of. So with Venus now at 28 degrees of Libra, we have again this yod established between Uranus in retrograde at 0 degrees of Gemini conjunct the Pleiades. And also we have Sedna around there at 1 degree, 29 minutes. And the other leg of the yod is Neptune now at 29 degrees, 42 minutes of Pisces conjunct Pegasus sheet. And Neptune's 29 degree in Pisces there is a ingress back into considering our reality as expanded. Neptune is asking us a question about how our reality is expanding around this time. And 29 degrees, a culmination degree. So here it is going back to retrieving and uncovering the gems of that wisdom that sits within the 29 degree of Pisces, the end of the zodiac. There are more gems for us to uncover as Neptune is going to be in Pisces between now and when Neptune is back in Aries in and around February 2026. So this is a reality shift that Neptune is driving along with Uranus in retrograde here, which is the inner expansion of our multidimensional self and our experience of that. Yes, this is exciting. And Venus here in rulership of this full moon conjunct Booth's Isar, and with 3i Atlas in and around in proximity here, if we call it that, of Venus on November 3rd, 2 days before this full moon, there may be significant truths that we are presented with at this time, both in the collective, but also within ourselves. I wanted to show you, to backtrack a little bit, this October 21st Libra new moon. In case you haven't seen the new Libra new moon video, you may want to go back and rewatch that to gather the insights and messages from the Libra new moon energy. And the fixed star Isar is linked into the dragon energy, rainbow dragon, which is very much an expansive energy that is also directional at this time. And coupling Shapley attractor with this is a magnitude of multidimensional wisdom that we have access to through this yod and Venus's right conjunction here to Booth's Isar at this Taurus full moon. And then I pulled in a slide from my 2025 Galactic Astrology program where I am highlighting the square between Sun and Pluto exact on October 24th, 2025. And here, the square is highlighted here between the green circles between the Sun and Pluto there. And this has the energy signature of new heart-based technology coming in. And that is due to that grand water trine between Mercury conjunct Beta Centauri Hadar at 24 degrees of Scorpio and Mars in close proximity there at 22 degrees of Scorpio. That is action and messages coming through. And in trine with Jupiter conjunct Canis Minor-Procyon at 24 degrees of Cancer. And also, of course, Saturn and Neptune there in Pisces, 26 and 29 degrees, both in retrograde respectively. So this is the energy signature of new heart-based energy technology coming our way. And here we are at November 5th, 2025, in this yod that I just pointed out. This was just a little introduction to the main part of energetic theme 1, courage to receive truth, because we have more to discuss. Now we are going to take a look at the second part of this first theme. So let's take a look at the second yod that I'd like to point out here as part of the first energetic theme. And as you can see here, this yod is pointing directly to the full moon here. And this yod, two quincunxes that links together in a point, a tip. And this one is pointing directly to the full moon here. And what we're going to talk about is asteroid Atlantis there at 13 degrees of Sagittarius conjunct the great attractor at 14 degrees of Sagittarius, which is one of the other universal drivers of wisdom. And the other leg of this yod is the conjunction with Corvus-Algorab at 13 degrees of Libra there. So I'll walk you through what I see here because there is important guidance as part of this yod. If we start with the moon there conjunct Andromeda-Almach, and we know that's deeply divine feminine, receptive energy, and it has to do with allowing life to flow and be. And if we look at asteroid Atlantis there at 13 degrees of Sagittarius conjunct the great attractor now. So the great attractor is associated with strong integration energy. The sign of Sagittarius is very visionary and has to do with timelessness. And the great attractor here at 14 degrees of Sagittarius has to do with integration of that timelessness part of ourselves. And it takes consistency. It takes a view, a vision. And the asteroid Atlantis has to do with also past karmic patterns and habits that we may have brought into this life to be integrated. So this time around the Taurus full moon is highlighting those habits and patterns that we are in the process of integrating, and the patience and consistency that may take. And the other leg of this yod, conjunct Corvus-Algorab there at 13 degrees of Libra, very much is associated with energy around casting away those lower frequencies. Corvus-Algorab is associated with messaging, and also the messaging of potentially lower frequencies so that they come up to the surface so that we can transmute them and have the courage to live in the wisdom that is true to us. So taken together, this yod is very guiding for us at this Taurus full moon, because we are guided at this Taurus full moon to listen to those messages within where we have lower frequencies potentially, or habits or patterns that are not serving us as well as they could, so that we can receive life just as it is. And it takes courage to, and consistency and patience to continue to listen to those messages as perception and reality of what is possible rise within us. And with the sun conjunct crux, a crux there in the center of this yod, not highlighted here, but you can see the sun is right in the middle here, supporting the full moon, shining light on the full moon. The message here from Acrux is that to trust the unseen and move forward in a reality that takes into account mystery and magic as well. So I wanted to highlight the great attractor here, and this is more of a diagram of energetic flow. And I pointed out the great attractor there as one of the significant drivers for universal wisdom is conjunct asteroid Atlantis at this time, and is supporting this integration of understanding as it comes up from the subconscious, working together with Corvus-Algorab energy here to bring up the messages that we need to hear, the courage it takes to receive truth. And here we have Corvus-Algorab at 13 degrees of Libra, one of the legs of this powerful yod, and the energy associated with messaging, and often associated also with bird family, raven, crows, etc. So this energetic theme pulls out the essence of this Taurus full moon, that we may need to go a little bit deeper than what we are used to, because we are now expanding our sense of reality. This is going to take ourselves even deeper within the uncharted territory within ourselves. And this is also a very powerful place to be. So harness this energy around the Taurus full moon to truly listen, and not using the mental domain as much to make scenarios or conclusions too quickly. All right, so let's dive into the second energetic theme that I've called The Heart is Protected. So here we have the second theme that I've called The Heart is Protected. And as you may notice here in the chart, Mars is at a critical point, a 0 degree 44 minute of Sagittarius here, conjunct Alpha Centauri at 29 degrees of Scorpio. When we have a 0 degree of a personal planet in a chart, it always means something specific. So I wanted to dive into the meaning of that in this energetic theme. So what we can see here, there is an opposition, an exact opposition almost, between Mars there and Uranus in retrograde at 0 degree of Gemini, conjunct Pleiades at 0 degree of Gemini. And this is a powerful opposition with a strong message, and we're going to get into that. We also have a T-square with Leo-Regulus there, 2 squares, one from Mars and one from Uranus, to Leo-Regulus at 0 degree of Virgo. So this is a connection to our heart center. And Mars here as a personal planet in opposition to Uranus and Sedna in retrograde is also a energy signature of a expansion of the heart frequency and heart space. And Mars here conjunct Alpha Centauri is And Alpha Centauri is associated with spiritual leadership, divination. So Mars here is also giving us a milestone, a marker in our energetic signature here, that it's something we really are taking action on here when it comes to our spiritual practice, our ways of viewing divination and working with the unseen. Uranus and Sedna in retrograde conjunct Pleiades here. As I've said many times before, Pleiades conjunct Uranus in retrograde particularly is associated with co-creation with the unseen, with our guides, with our councils and groups that our soul is associated with, seeking deeper connection and collaboration, co-creation with the unseen. But there's more here that is supportive of a protected heart at this time. We have what I call a basket formation. It's two minor grand trines forming a basket. I call it a basket. But this is a significant energetic signature holding this basket in protection of the heart frequency between Pluto and Neptune, the two minor grand trines formed here with Mars at 0 degree of Sagittarius. So we have Pluto conjunct Aquila Altair and Neptune conjunct Pegasus sheet. Pluto and Aquila Altair, we've talked about many times, is that higher vision of where we truly are going in the Aquarian age, the eagle's vision, if you will. And Neptune conjunct Pegasus sheet there at exact 29 degrees of Pisces is the sense of liberation, the expansion of our soul self recognition, the liberation of who we truly are. So this is a powerful basket to hold that Leo-Regulus heart frequency in. So yeah, consider our hearts protected at this time. So Alpha Centauri at 29 degrees of Scorpio is a powerful, powerful point. And Mars here now is helping us to go deeper with our spiritual practice, our view on spiritual collaboration and seeking our soul family. Alpha Centauri energy is grounded in unconditional love. And Mars is here to help us activate that and go deeper with this at this Taurus full moon. So yes, this is a powerful, powerful frequency to know that our heart is very much sheltered and held in this basket. Leo-Regulus at the very top of this formation in the chart is a symbol of the heart frequency expansion that we are in. Every time we have an activation of a 0 degree point means that it's also activating likely Leo-Regulus there at 0 degree of Virgo. At this Taurus full moon, this heart energy is prominently held within that basket, as you saw in the chart. And it symbolically can be interpreted as our heart is very protected at this time. All right, are you ready for the third energetic theme, the unseen spiritual lesson? So here we have the third energetic theme that I have named the unseen spiritual lesson. And you may recall an exact square at the Libra new moon on October 21st between Chiron and Jupiter. And that square is still in effect. You can see that Chiron at 24 degrees of Aries in retrograde and Jupiter at 25 degrees of Cancer conjunct Canis Minor-Procyon. So you may recognize that one. At this full moon, we have an additional square that is also significant, and that is between Saturn at 25 degrees of Pisces in retrograde, conjunct Pegasus-Markab at 23 degrees of Pisces, and Vesta, asteroid Vesta there at 24 degrees of Sagittarius, conjunct the galactic center at 27 degrees of Sagittarius. And I should also say that Chiron is in opposition to Booth's Actors there at 24 degrees of Libra. These two squares are significant, and we're going to talk about why. Because here we also have two trines in effect, and that is now an exact trine between Saturn in retrograde conjunct Pegasus-Markab and Jupiter at 25 degrees of Cancer conjunct Canis Minor-Procyon there. And that trine is driving an expansion of the mental domain, an expansion of our mental perception into a spiritual perspective. The second trine is between Chiron in Aries and Vesta in Sagittarius. And that trine is taking place in the fire element. Vesta is that inner glow, that inner hope and comfort, while Chiron in retrograde in Aries is very much that potential. If we have turned our pain into potential, this is now firing up. And what we notice here too is that we have a semi-sextile between Saturn in retrograde in Pisces and Chiron in retrograde in Aries. And a semi-sextile is a distance of 30 degrees, one sign basically next to each other. And this is an aspect that is significantly interesting in this formation. And in the members only video, we are going to dive deeper into this formation, these two squares and these two trines, and Canis Minor-Procyon, Pegasus-Markab, and the galactic center in combination with Jupiter, Vesta, Chiron, and Saturn. And I've called the members only video the unseen spiritual lesson. So if you're interested in diving deeper in the meaning of this formation, join us in the membership at the galaxy level and receive an extra members only video and extra questions there. Because there are some hidden gems here, some unseen spiritual lesson that we are now due to uncover. So here I'd like to highlight Canis Minor-Procyon conjunct Jupiter there at 24 degrees of Cancer, because Jupiter is significantly having an influence here at this Taurus full moon because of that quincunx between Jupiter and Vesta at 24 degrees of Sagittarius. This is also indicating that we are meant to go within, to allow this integration of new spiritual technology, new heart-based spiritual technology to emerge within ourselves, because it's something that we cannot use our mental domain to figure out, but rather receive. So this is a very powerful message coming through this square trine formation, semi-sextile. And I can't wait to dive deeper into that in the members only video. Here you can also see Canis Minor-Procyon as a star image here to tune into, to receive more of those truths, those insights that you are meant to receive now. And here, Vesta conjunct the galactic center. We're back to this diagram, this energetic diagram. And here I've highlighted the Milky Way and where our galactic center is located, just to have a feel for where this is. So yes, there are some hidden gems here within this Taurus full moon chart that we are about to uncover. Spiritual lessons, but also truths that we are now due to uncover and relate to, expand our reality with. Are you curious about how this Taurus full moon is aligning with your birth chart and what galactic alignments that are active for you at this time? Download my Galactic Alignments reference guide. There's a link in the pinned comment and description box below. So as promised, I have some questions for you, should you want to integrate this Taurus full moon energy some more. So the first question is, Taurus full moon, yes, that is about embodiment of beauty and truth. So how are you coming into a deeper sense of your own truth at this Taurus full moon? And how can you embody that deeper? The second question is related to Mars there at the 0 degree of Sagittarius. What is that new vision that is coming through for you now at this time? And how can you create from that space? And this may not be something you create in form, because Sagittarius and the conjunction by Mars to Alpha Centauri has to do with ultimately unconditional love and a vision of love. So if you are bringing in a new vision for yourself, how can that be grounded in love? So what can you create from a grounding of your heart frequency in unconditional love? So the third question is associated with that semi-sextile between Saturn and Chiron. And we also have Chiron conjunct Eris, but we're going to go deeper with this semi-sextile and these squares and trines and how and what that may mean. But the question for you here is, what is it that you cannot put your finger on at this time, but you know it needs to surface and it needs a clarification for you to have a new perspective on something? This is likely. So what is that? Because the gem in here may be a life lesson that your soul is working on. So yes, this Taurus full moon is very much an intersection between the unseen and the seen. Taurus and Scorpio in balance here, this full moon with the moon and the sun in opposition here, with Andromeda-Almach of divine feminine radiance and Acrux here guiding us and shining light on the value of working with the unseen and mystery, and having the courage to receive the truths that we now are due to mix into our reality and expand our perspective from there. And one way of working with this is to trust your imagination. Imagination is not something we make up. If we are allowing ourselves to decode the symbolism in our imagination, we are also expanding our reality. Thank you for being here, for liking, subscribing, and joining us in the membership should you want to go deeper with us over time here. I soon have the 2026 Galactic Astrology program coming out. And also I plan on in the membership to offer live sessions come end of this year, 2025, and into 2026 here. I'm still shaping up what is realistic to do amongst everything else, but I'm seeing some sort of offering within the membership of live interaction. And that is going to be very exciting because I know there's a lot of questions that you may have that can be very enlightening to receive a response to. So I invite you to engage with this video, and don't forget to hype this video by swiping the comments field before you expand it, and give this channel, this video, some hype points. Thank you so much in advance. Visit me on ulrikasullivan.com. And I'm available for readings, and look out for the 2026 Galactic Astrology program because there's a lot of goodies there revealing a lot about galactic collective energy in 2026. Thank you for being here, listening and viewing New Light Living Podcast. I'm Ulrika Sullivan. I'm an intuitive spiritual life coach and galactic astrologer. I can't wait to come back with another video for you soon. Bye.